welcome back to my channel. It's Morbid Gamer here with another video. So today I bring you guys a tutorial on how to make Sims 4 thumbnails specifically, but it's gonna be applied to really anything. So in the world of YouTube that we live on, it is very crucial and essential when it comes to thumbnails and presenting what your video is gonna be about to viewers and kind of catch their eye and get them to click on your video. So that's where clickbait comes from. We all know that. Where meme thumbnails come from, or big flashy bright yellow font thumbnails come from. So I see that people tend to neglect their thumbnails, and that's something you just can't afford to do. And I'm not sitting here saying that I'm the best at my thumbnails, but I definitely try, and that's all you can really do, and that's all you could really do to try and bring in people to watch your video. So now let's go into my computer because I think I'm done rambling on, and I'm going to show you a bit of my tips and tricks that might help you out when making your thumbnails. Let's go. I'm still here. Okay, so now that we're in the computer, we're going to look through some of the things that you're gonna need for this tutorial and some of the tips and tricks and the things that I download and use that help me kind of cut corners or make my thumbnails kind of stand out. So the first thing you're gonna need is actual editing software. You can edit on Photoshop. There's Photoshop. I use that right now. I have an older version that I downloaded a while ago. If you know where to look and you have a VPN, because I highly suggest using a VPN if you're downloading, if you're torrenting. You could do this that way. It is illegal, but you can do it at your own risk. Again, highly suggest a VPN if you're gonna go that route. But there's also paying for Photoshop. They have a yearly subscription. I think it's like $100 for the newer version, but it is the newer version. It is $100 a year subscription, I think, around there. So you can always do that, or you can go the GIMP route. It's free, and it's very similar to Photoshop. They have a lot of similar features. Next, what you're gonna need to download and do is actually become a member. If you're not registered to the Sims 4 studio, you're gonna have to register and become a member so you can download Andrew's Pose Player. This is crucial in how I make the majority of my poses. How I make the majority of my thumbnails. So Andrew's Pose Player allows you to do those poses. You've probably seen them. You've probably seen them around. This is how people get their Sims to act out certain scenarios, maybe in machinimas or like just in thumbnails. This is how people do it, just in case you didn't know. And you're gonna want to go ahead and download the Pose Player. Not only that, but you're going to want to download the Teleport Any Sim mod as well. This is a little knight statue figurine that will allow you to teleport your sim directly there, and it's helpful, very helpful when you have group pictures or at least two people in a pose. So you're gonna have to download this one also. So two things from here that you're gonna have to download. Next, what you're going to want to do is download a pose. So what I like to do for my thumbnails, if I have like an overarching theme or something big that happened in a specific Let's Play, or if the video is about like CC finds, and of course I'm going to want to showcase the clothes. So then finding a pose that is relevant to the CC finds video, I'm going to want to find, or just anything that's relevant to the video, you know, or maybe if your sim went on a date and it was so cute, then you can totally find a couple pose that won't work for the thumbnail. So it's all about just seeing what you want to attract your viewer with. So we're gonna look for some couple poses. We're on Lana CC Finds, aka SS Vitlin's Tumblr. So she has categories. Just click under poses. She has every pose categorized from pet posing, like posing with your pet, or different ages like baby poses, infant poses, toddler poses, child family poses, group poses, male or female. We got people strolling poses, sink poses, I don't even know that's a thing, shower poses, okay, picnic poses, storytelling poses. Like if you're telling a story, this is where you need to go for your thumbnails for sure. For the sake of this video, we are going to go look under the couple poses. I found this cute little pumpkin spice pose pack. So it's just a cute little Saturday morning, just lounging on this chair, probably on the front porch of a house. It's so cute. So we're gonna go ahead and download. This is the preview. It'll always show you a preview of what the poses have. So you'll just put your Sims in these poses. just in case you didn't know. Now another thing that I want to add to this is if you want to do a little work pre-production, like before you start taking pictures, here's a little tip, and that is downloading and installing a reshade mod to your Sims, because once you go reshade, you never go back to the original Sims and how it looks, because when you start to realize once you get the reshade mod that the way that the Sims 4 looks originally and vanilla is very, very dull. It doesn't have that. It's not very saturated. It's not very bright. So you definitely want to catch the viewer's eyes with your thumbnails, and the old dull Sims game is just not gonna cut it. At least not for me. I always have to go into post-production in Photoshop and like crank up the brightness and crank up that saturation. But if you don't want to do that already and you just kind of want to skip a step, I would suggest downloading a reshade mod. I'm going to link this video. It is by Harry. She did an awesome tutorial on how to download and install this reshade mod. And she also links a preset. She provides a link to the preset as well. So this is the one that I use in my game, just in case you're wondering or you want the same one. But there's a lot of different presets out there, so you can always find the one that works for you. But moving on, we also should download some bit of text fonts. You should definitely play around with some fonts to attract viewers. Also, you could be like whimsical or cute or bold in your face kind of thing. So you only get a limited amount in your computer that's already installed in there. So I would suggest downloading some. This is from 1001fonts.com. This is all free fonts that you can download. I already see some cute ones like this cursive one right there. That one's really cute and I would totally use it. So take a look at and download as much as you want. So the last thing you should probably download, and this is for people who are using Photoshop. For the people out there that have Photoshop but don't really know how to use it, or like don't know all the tools or everything like that, or you just want to cut some corners and you just don't want to be like editing down to everything, there are actions. There are things called actions, just in case you didn't know. They're kind of like steps built into this action that will then create, like, it's kind of like a filter. There you go. That's the best way to put it. It's kind of like a filter. Basically, it means that you're cutting corners and it's just easier for you because now you don't have to do it. So I would definitely suggest actions, looking for some free actions out there. I googled a couple Adobe Photoshop free actions and I got a couple of them, so you can look through these, find some online hopefully, and yeah, maybe just add a bit more something to your thumbnail. So we are now in the Sims. I have my two Sims that are going to be our models for today. So I just want to point out that you can basically have your photo shoot anywhere inside your house and create a Sim on a public lot, wherever it is, whatever the theme of your thumbnail is. Take it. You take it anywhere. It doesn't matter. So I went ahead and downloaded this cute little cottage for the sake of this cute little picture thumbnail that we're going to take, because it's a cute couple pose thumbnail that we're trying to make. We have our couple, even though they're not a couple, they're strangers, they don't know each other. They're going to be our models for today. So we are going to pair them up. We're using the Andrew's Post Player now, the one you downloaded. You hopefully downloaded. It's always going to be in the decoration section in build by mode. It is in the miscellaneous section actually. You're going to scroll until you find it. Hopefully it's a lot quicker for you. I have a lot of CC, so it's down there a little bit, but I found it. I like to keep the knight on hand, so I'm just going to place him down right there, and using the little eyedropper tool, I'm going to copy him, and we're going to put him on the bench right here. So now all that's left to do is just teleport the Sims right where the knight is and have them pose for us. Vogue, bitch. You better work, bitch. So here is Steven and Calliope. Oh, that's an interesting name. I like it. Calliope and Steven are here models. We're going to have them pose now in their cute little poses. Before we do, actually, I'm going to toggle and pull up the reshade mod. You see how it's changing? Because my reshade mod is uploading. I have a lot of different shaders. I'm going to pull up my favorite. So this is the one that I use. The one that you saw before was the one that I use when filming, playing a game. It's just like my everyday use one. But when I'm taking pictures, there's actually one that I really like. So I'm going to pull that one up. It is called... So I have this one. It kind of make things makes things pop a little bit. If you notice on the screen, I know this is a scary image to look at, but it kind of creates like a 3D weird effect to everything around it. Do you see how it's making this look? I don't know if you can tell, but I like the way that this makes things look. Let's pull up another one. Now this one is a little bit more different. It kind of gives like a weird glowy effect to the Sims. It's not my favorite, but I do use it from time to time. Oh no, she's moving. So wherever there's light, it kind of creates this weird halo glow. Here's another one. It's kind of bringing out a different hue to this one. Like I said, I don't know if you guys can tell the difference through the screen and stuff, but it also is giving it a bit of like blurriness, like a little smoothing like effect kind of to the sim. But for the sake of this video, we are just going to use this preset. It is called the Sims 4 comic book preset. Okay, so let me get this girl back here. Calliope, where'd you go? So now that I have them back here in my hands again, in my grasp, we are going to go and click on the pose by pack action. You click on the sim and it should appear. Where is it? Yeah, there it is. Pose by pack. And then you're going to scroll to wherever your pose is. You got to find it. If you have a lot like me, you got to kind of search for it. If you don't, then it should just be like right there. You click on it, and there should be all your poses. So there should be like indicators as to which pose is which. The little F1 means female and little M1 means male. They're not always categorized this way. Posing can be a little tricky sometimes depending on what you download. Like I said, they're not always organized. But this one's good and organized. So I'm going to click on all the male poses because this is for the male sim to pose with. So, and then next we want to pose our female sim. We're just going to do the same thing. Once you have all your poses queued up, or however many or whichever ones you have queued up, you're going to go ahead and press play, and your Sims are now posing in the way that you want them to, or the pose that you downloaded. But another thing, you're going to want to turn off the little plumb bob that's over the sim. So a little cheat to do that is you're going to press Control-Shift-C, and then you're going to type in headline effects off. I know you can't see it because of the preset. It's like, or I'm blocking it up here, right there. It's kind of blurry. Yeah, but it's headline effects off. So headline effects is together, and then off is space, then off. Okay, so we're gonna enter that, and now the plumb bob is gone. So that's a neat little cheat, so that doesn't appear or show up. So now you can press tab, and using the W, A, S, and D letters on your keyboard, you can move your camera around. You can use Q and E to toggle up and down, like pan around, up and down. And you can now take your pictures. Zoom in using, I guess, the little plus sign, or I'm using my scroll wheel. I can zoom in as much as I please, in and out like that. So I'm gonna take my pictures now. So once you're done with that pose, you can just scroll through all your poses. I'm gonna click on the next one. That's already a cute one. Look at them, that's adorable. If you're gonna put wording into your thumbnail, then like kind of plan ahead. Maybe take the picture off to the side so you have room for that. Kind of think about that in advance. You don't always have to do that. So yeah, just play around with the angles and the different poses, and eventually you'll look through them and find your favorite one, what works best for you and your thumbnail. So next step is to go into the folder where your images got uploaded to. So I have so many, as you can see right here. I'm gonna have to pick and choose, but girl, there are so many good moments in this. Like, we can have so many options here. And so you're just gonna look through this and find like the best option for you, what you think is more eye-catching, more eye-pleasing, what you think someone will click on, I guess. And so that's kind of what like my mindset is, like what's gonna make the best image and like tell a story, make somebody want to click on it, hopefully. So many difficult choices, but I think I'm gonna go with this one. I think this one is more telling to the romance. He's like reaching out, trying to touch her face. Cute. I think I would click on that one. So let's drop this in. There's many ways to drop images into Photoshop. Not too familiar with GIMP, but I'm pretty sure it works the same way. So we're gonna just grab it and drop it. that's it. So your image is now in Photoshop. Next, what I like to do is kind of play around and mess around with the contrast, the lighting, and the colors before we kind of start really like tweaking in the little things. So I think the brightness of this image is pretty okay. I think I might raise it just a smidgen, just a dollop. For the contrast, I think the contrast is actually looking pretty okay. Like, again, just probably gonna mess around and just like a little dollop of the contrast, gonna increase that just a smidgen. Also like to mess around with the curves of the image. I'm not too, like, I took a Photoshop class in high school, but I don't remember what this does, to be honest. So not the best person to be getting advice from, but I just kind of like to tweak around. It does, you can see, like, if I crank this up high, like, it's gonna change the image. So what I like to do is kind of put two little dots over here, and then this top one is the one that I really mess around with. So you can see, like, kind of the contrast on his face is kind of, it's picking up more. So if I lower this, I feel like it might make it duller. Yeah, so we're gonna raise this up, not too much to the point where he looks crazy, but just a smidge. This is what we're going for. If your image needs more, then go ahead and crank it up more. Like, it just depends on what the image that you took. Also, if you press Control T, it will free transform your image. What that means is that you just have a lot. You can pretty much drag and drop your image anywhere. So I'm gonna go ahead and Control Alt Z. That undoes what you just did. Control T though, I'm going to press Shift, and while I'm doing this, I'm going to drag this image. And like, now you see it zooming in. Now we can see more of this sim. I think the more people can see of the Sims and what they're doing in their faces, I think it attracts people, or at least for me, I like to see what the Sims are doing in the thumbnails. If it's like far away, like if your image is, pretend it's like it was a big image, but your Sims are like all the way over here, and like there's a lot going on. Like, I can't see your Sim. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, no, that's not gonna work. We have actions over here on the side. If you click on this little, like, it looks like a play button. Like you click play. You should pop up all these actions. These are the ones that I've downloaded. So if you downloaded any of them, they should be in here. The way to install it, all you do is like drag and drop it in here. That's what I did. Just take the little action that you downloaded, it should be in like a file, one file, you just grab it and boop, drop it into this right here. And so what I'm gonna do is apply let's apply something that's gonna really change the image. Let me see if this is actually my favorite action. Let me apply it here. I don't think it'll work because I have already edited the image. It might make it even crazier looking because it's added on stuff, but just to showcase to you what it does, I'm going to apply it, what these actions do. See how it's already changed the image? And these are just, it's kind of doing it for me. So there it is. It even resized it for me. Oh god. So I made so many changes to the image already. So that's what actions do. Kind of just does tutorial. So find something that you like. This one's one of my favorites, but like I said, I already kind of adjusted it the way that I want. I actually do like the way some of the contrast of this. I don't know what they did in this action, but it's so good. So this was the first image we had, and this is what we had after. So you can definitely see a difference. There's a pop into this one. So the next thing that I like to do, we're gonna come back to the actions in a bit, but what I like to do is sharpen the image. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on Smart Sharpen. It's my favorite type of sharpening. There's a lot of different options on how to sharpen an image, but my favorite is Smart Sharpen. Jeez. Okay, so this is just gonna kind of hone in the picture, like really bring in the details of the image. So you can mess around with this as much as you'd like. The higher you crank it up, the crazier it's gonna make the picture and the image look. It's already looking like it's like clipping in a way. Like it's looking a little crazy. Got me looking so crazy right now. So just adjust it to somewhere that's kind of like, you know, somewhere that's kind of in the middle. Bring out some details of the image. Okay, perfect. Now, next thing that I like to do is add this new action. I'm just like loving this 3D action. I don't know where I got it from. I forgot. I couldn't find a link even if I maybe if I really try to scour Google, but it's called a 3D action. It's Fake It. It's a Fake It Reshade preset. It's a 3D action, so it makes the image kind of look 3D-ish. Again, we're going back to these actions. So it's going to make the image look like it's kind of has a 3D effect. I don't know if you guys can notice the details in on the screen, but it's making it look a little strange, and I don't know, I like bringing that to my edits. So you can kind of see it in the eyes, in his eyes a little bit. Do you see that 3D effect that it's kind of doing? I really like that for my images. I don't know, it's something I came across that's new. We're also gonna blur. We're gonna blur the bejesus out of this. Just kidding. We're just gonna create some depth of field for the image. So depth of field, if you've seen like high-tech cameras or stuff like that, if you ever take, or on your phone, you know, there's kind of like that blurriness in the background, or you see in YouTube videos, and then the person is like in focus, but the background is blurred. That's what depth of field is. So we're gonna blur it out. We're gonna blur out the background a little bit, create just a smidge for now. Oh, usually, actually, what I like to do is duplicate this layer. If you right-click on the image, it is locked right now, so I have to unlock it. But click OK. You're going to right-click and select duplicate layer up here. I'm sure there's an easier way, and then it'll create a new layer. So I like to blur out this layer. I'm sure there's an easier way of doing this. It's just the way I know. And so I'm going to blur out the background. I'm gonna start off with these roses back here. I'm probably gonna blur out this background here. Not too much, probably at a 2.5, 2.6, it's fine. Anywhere around that, that's perfect. You can already see that their faces are blurred, but what we're gonna do is erase the face, like the actual image that's supposed to be in focus. So this, see how it's coming in focus again? This is what we want in focus. And then so the background is gonna look blurred out, but we're fine because our main image is not blurred out. So now you can tell that the background is a little bit more blurred out, but our main image, like the main focus, is the male and a female sim that we have, and that's what our eye is attracting us to. So it's them. You can also create a little bit more depth of field. Let me see if I can duplicate this layer again, the top layer, the one we just blurred, and then create even a further depth of field. So blur again. We're gonna create a Gaussian blur. And we're gonna crank this up a little higher, and we're gonna blur out the background all the way back there. So our next depth of field is these roses. So these were fine. These were fine in the shot. So this new layer, we're just gonna blur out this. Just see here. And maybe these images right here. This is fine. I'm gonna leave that. And probably these roses in the background. Things you would think would be in focus on the camera. And so now we have like even more. So that far background back there with the trees in all the way over there are blurred out. The roses are blurred out enough, and then our main focus are the Sims. So that's great to just like kind of nail in the eyes. And now you can take this a step further. If you want to really focus in on these Sims, you can create some highlight, like you can create some vignette. Is that what it's called? Vignette. You can always like darken this up. Like this isn't our main focus, this empty space over here. I usually leave these empty spaces for if I'm gonna put like text, word text, like somewhere, so it doesn't take away from these Sims. So you can always take your brush, click on the black over here, and then do that, draw it on, and then what you're gonna do is maybe lower the opacity, so now it's not as bright over here, you know. And then I'm cranking it down to at least a 25 opacity. It's down here in this little thing. Again, if you're using GIMP, it should work around the same way. If you want, you could take it in here where the Sim is, this little crevice. You don't want that little area to be the spotlight. So now the Sims are popping, okay? Sims are pretty good to go. Then if you want to get a little bit more creative, here it is in adjustments. Oh, I was like having so much trouble trying to find this. Photo filters right here. You can put like a warm tone overlay on it. If you want it to look more like romantic or something, there's like blue, orange, green. I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of warm up the image a little bit and just a smidgen. Give it that romantic aura. And let's brighten this up just a little bit more. I feel like I'm losing it a little bit in the darkness. You can add text to this, which is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna put in the thumbnail, Sims 4. Sims 4. We don't want this to be too lengthy, so how to make a thumbnail. And there it is. I don't like that. That looks way too bulky. I can always use like a different font, but like you can play around with it. Another thing with the fonts, you can always double click on the layer that is your font. The layer that is your text, I mean your font. You can always stroke it, and so now it makes like, you see, now you can see it a little bit more. You can always change the color of it. You can do red, pink. Ooh, pink looks kind of cute. Not gonna lie, matching like my hair. You can always make a glow around it. So let's see, if we wanted to make this glow, you can use like maybe a yellowish color, and then crank up that opacity, crank up the size of that glow, and now do you see it's glowing? You can always do that to attract people to the thumbnail. Well, you can always add a drop down shadow. So you see in the background, it added like a little shadow. So now you see, okay, I made it a little bit more obvious. I think now you see like there's a little like, it looks like a little 3D-ish. So it looks like there's a shadow behind the font, and now it stands out. So you can add all these things, different text. Like I taught you my way of doing how I make my thumbnails, like kind of easy go-to ways. There's more intricate ways, whatever you guys feel comfortable with. The only thing I'm asking is you try to outdo the next person, because this is kind of a competition. So you try to outdo the other person with the great thumbnails, okay? You want to beat them. Survival of the fittest. This is like Fortnite. You're trying to like be the last man standing. Just kidding. There's room for everybody, but it's kind of how that goes, you know. I'm kind of being honest here. Like, whose thumbnail is more attractive to look at? Who we're gonna click on first? Kind of thing. So hopefully this makes it a little clearer on how to do things. Gives you a little insight on how I edit. Maybe learned a couple new tips or tricks, and that's about it, you guys. So I hope you found this helpful. I really do. Give it a thumbs up if you did find it helpful. Leave a comment down below with any questions. And yeah, that's about it. So I will see you in my next one. Bye!